The smell. My wife told me that she approached the other guy to marry her a day before our engagement to marry her, and he denied, saying it was too late. They did not move forward because of societal pressure, my wife's brother not being comfortable about that guy. Before that, July 2020, she was also chatting and talking to 2 other guys. It was mostly flirtatious. She was on the lookout for good guys for 2 to 3 years before our marriage. I talked to her at the end of July 2021. She was furious and shouting and didn't want to tell anything. She tried to lie in all kind of ways and revealed all the truth slowly as I mentioned what I had read in her chats. In one of the chats, June 2021, she wrote to the other guy, "I don't have those feelings for anyone now." The other guy seemed to tell her to stay true to the marriage. Since ours was an arranged marriage, I didn't get to know her much. She's very crafty and hides things from me. I contacted the 2 of her old BFs and asked, and they denied any physical contact. I have seen "I love you" messages to them from my wife. She has been very slow and unwilling of telling the truth about her past. I had to beg her for days during the pregnancy to tell the truth and speak it all. She forced me to show messages before telling the truth. She tries to bring to fault my mother, sister and sister-in-law. They have been in contact for only 8 days and we live separately. Now, I can't trust her. She keeps saying that she'll not contact them ever and it was the biggest mistake of her life. Asks me to get over it. She has never been very open about talking about this. I feel like talking more about the subject and ask her about every line of chat and every relationship she's had, to be able to develop trust. At home with a baby 1 month old today. Not sure how should I proceed and heal my feelings and develop a strong bond. Getting away isn't an option. Please help me with tips and your take on the entire issue. Should I talk to her about the past boyfriends and the guy she loved, she has accepted? She also says that the guy had bad things about him. She loved him, but not anymore. Now she's out and want to be out of it. I felt that she should have told me about it and be open. I'm deeply hurt that she didn't tell me about it. I give her a lot of space and allow her to do whatever she likes. Recently I've blocked her Facebook and she's okay with it. You cannot force love and attraction, very true, but how can I develop it and not hamper and go the right direction? Some not-to-dos or any help would be of great help. We did talk and have a good time when engaged and I'm in love with her. She's had a past, physical or non-physical, I don't care. The thing is I want to move forward and get some help to move forward. She's understanding, but immature and crafty, hides her feelings. Also, I'm not that courteous to women, so I need to improve too. The culture you see here is different and hard to digest, but it works and I have to make it work in this case also. The time when I read those chats in July 2021 saying that she loved this other guy and he reciprocated. I would make breakfast and keep it next to her and leave for office. After office I would do the dishes. At that time, after her breakfast she would talk to this ex-lover, boyfriend, and then behave with me in absurd fashion and blame me for reading chats and tell lies that she never had anything with anyone, it was just a friendly text and chat. I had to show her each and every chat to open her up. Later, after a month or more, she opened a bit and explained and told things that were not in the chat. I'm still not sure if it was physical or not, although from their level of talk it seems that it was physical. She says otherwise. In my mind it's a 50-50. I feel like threatening her to tell everything to her parents, etc. if she broke the promise again. My mind is all messed up. I love her, but I'm hurt and don't know how I should leave all this mess that she has created in my life behind. She has been understanding and good lately. No bonding though, probably due to the reason you mention. Also, she's showing some attention for me. Still doesn't share the things from the bottom of her heart. Yesterday I sent her a text. If someone is remorseful, guilty, and has taken ownership of what they've done, talking about it really isn't that big of a deal. We didn't talk about it and did our chores. I feel like sitting with my wife and going over all her chats and know all about her past again, and my expectation is she tells me all like a friend with hiding stuff. While she was pregnant, she told me all only when I asked her persistently. Now from what I can tell, she has never and will never contact her friends. She has admitted that it was her mistake and it won't happen again. I still feel that in order for me to be more comfortable with her and get back to normal, I need to hear from her all about the chats and past, in a friendly way, so that we have a better bond. She doesn't want to talk about it. What do I do? We are both trying to become normal, but I have these bad feelings about her hiding stuff and past. Any tips on how to not think and be angry about this other guy? I don't mention it to her, but my actions tell her that I'm angry about this other guy. I haven't asked her or forced her to tell anything and have been avoiding mentioning any of their names. She is silent and watches me be mad in anger and sometimes laughs about it. I keep visiting the other guy's Facebook, etc. and still can't get over all this. She said that during pregnancy it was her hormones that made her chat and do what she did and asks me to forget everything. On the same note, I want to ask her everything again, because I also shouldn't believe whatever she told me during pregnancy. I feel like getting to know all about her past and have planned to go after her to tell it all. I want her to not keep secrets and be open and honest with me. Divorce is not an option. The divorce is not an option, and you are right that she tries to use to great perfection. But this is me. I am so open and I share my true feelings with close one, all the feelings. In this case it happens to be my wife, and so I shared and told her that divorce is not an option. My comment: I truly hope that she never has a full-blown affair, otherwise you'll have to learn to accept and embrace living in a one-side open marriage, since for you, divorce is not an option. OP responds: I trust her to not go that route again, which she has agreed to. I keep checks and tabs, hoping that doesn't happen. Story 2. I'm 28 years old. Never been married. Can't seem to make it to the altar. My relationship history over the past decade. 1. High school boyfriend from age 15 to 19. This guy was my brother's best friend. 3 years older than me. We got engaged when I was 18 and were planning on getting married as soon as I finished college. Everyone thought we were the perfect couple, including me. Then he found his dream when he got scouted by a minor league baseball team. Got sent out of state for a few weeks. Met a girl who was a real-life Sports Illustrated swimsuit model and hooked up with her. Came home and dumped me. After 4 years together, I'm suddenly not exciting enough, not attractive enough. He's now married to a red-headed bombshell and they have 2-year-old twins. In case anyone is wondering, he never did make it to the majors. 2. Second boyfriend met about a year later. He was almost 5 years older than me. We were together for 2 years. I was crazy about him and really thought he felt the same way. Once again, we got engaged and made plans to marry as soon as we graduated. He went home to Texas for Christmas, called and told me he had met someone else, and, on the flight, home no less. He actually said he loved me more but she fit his lifestyle better. Apparently, I was too independent for him. I wanted a career and she was happy to be a stay-at-home wife, mom. Well, he had never told me that was what he wanted. Hell, I didn't think any men wanted that anymore. He married her only 3 months later. It just about ruined me. Now they're expecting their first child and it still hurts. I keep thinking that should have been me. 3 and 4 co-workers at the job where I worked to put myself through college. Chefs in the restaurant where I was a server. Both relationships lasted about a year. Second one started about 3 months after the first one ended. In fact, the first guy introduced me to the second guy. Both left me for the same reason. They got better jobs out of state. Neither of them invited me to go with them. It was pretty obvious I cared more about them than either one of them cared about me. Fifth, another co-worker, another restaurant. Dated for about 4 months. Was really starting to care a lot about this guy. We had a ton in common and he just made me feel really good just being with him. One day our boss took me aside and asked me what my involvement was with him. Proceeded to tell me the guy had 3 kids with 3 different women and that he was still living with the mother of the youngest kid. Apparently, I am being groomed to be his next in line. Broke up with him and quit working there on the same day. Couldn't believe I had been so foolish, naive as to have been the other woman and not even suspected it. Finished my master's degree last spring. Got a real job working as a librarian, computer teacher in my local elementary school. My niece and nephew go to school there, so it's pretty cool working there. There's this one teacher there, he's 32, single, really nice, good looking. He made it pretty obvious he was interested in me right from the beginning. Then after we had gone out a few times, he basically friend-zoned me. Said it wasn't working for him on a romantic level, so he wanted to just be friends. Now I have to work with the guy on a daily basis, and I was really starting to like him, so it hurts. Not to mention I thought we had some serious chemistry. Kissing him was absolutely amazing. He's now dating the divorced mother of one of our students. The only other guy I ever dated 3+ times was from my church, and he got back together with his ex, and that was the end of that. I feel like the girl who is nothing more than a placeholder until a guy finds another person, or place, in his life where he would rather be. I'm actually still Facebook friends with all these guys except the married one and the cheating bee. What's wrong with me that I can't seem to be the one who wins the guy for good? I'm attractive enough, at least I think I am. 5 feet 4, about 110 pounds, dark blonde, pixie hair and face. I don't think I come across as desperate. I have plenty of friends of both gender and my guy friends flirt with me a lot. I have a BA and an MLIS degree. I'm something of a geek. I love doing active things outdoors and going to concerts. I think I have a good sense of humor. My self-esteem is pretty good except, nowadays, where guys are concerned. I date fairly regularly, mostly guys I meet through church, work, or volunteering. I won't do casual fun and refuse to get physical until a relationship seems to be getting serious, and that's the only thing I can figure is keeping my relationships from lasting. If that's the case, I guess I'm destined to be alone, because it's not something I'm willing to compromise on. I'm reaching a point where I've been burned and hurt so much, I'm almost afraid to try again now anyway. I never imagined I'd be pushing 30 and still single. I can't help but be depressed. I know I'm still fairly young, but I feel like such a failure when it comes to relationships. I can't help but think this is the way the rest of my life is going to be. Girlfriend material, but apparently not wife material. I just wish I knew why. Clingy. Just the opposite, I would say. I'm extremely independent. As far as dating, I prefer active dates involving adventures, hiking on rough terrain, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, or sports events, either as spectator or participant, or music, concerts, or musical dramas. I don't enjoy things like movies or dinners that are the entire date. I pretty much only get involved with guys I already know are as physically active as I am. I don't tend to talk a lot on my dates, but neither do they. The guy I talked to the most was my second fiancé. We were so incredibly compatible in every way I thought so. It was a shock when he left me for a more traditional stay-at-home wife type girl. We used to have these ridiculously long conversations about anything and everything. We joked that they were our philosophical discussions. A lot of my interests could be considered more masculine than feminine, I suppose. Sports, cars, computers, rock concerts. Sometimes I do wonder if over the long term my lack of femininity turns off. I mean, I'm the kind of girl who won't wear a dress unless I have absolutely no choice. My favorite outfit is ripped jeans, a sports logo shirt, and actual Army-issue combat boots. Almost my entire wardrobe comes from the men's department or the Army-Navy store. I'm still a tomboy at 28 and proud of it. I can throw a perfect 50-yard spiral pass in a 60 miles per hour fastball, and I've driven my car at 130 miles per hour on the local racetrack during open driving day. Unfortunately, I know there are people who think I'm gay because of it, but I can assure you I have no physical or romantic interest in other women. In fact, I don't even have a lot of female friends because I don't have much in common with other women. I don't care about fashion or celebrity gossip, and honestly, if I'm going to go out with friends for the night, it's probably going to be with a group of guys. Maybe that's it, I suppose. Maybe I keep getting friend-zoned because I act too much like just another one of the guys. But that's who I am, and I don't want to have to pretend to be something I'm not, or deny who I am, to succeed in a relationship. Being feminine is really hard for me. I am the only girl in a household of 6 boys, and we had 5 more boys, my cousins, in the house next door. In fact, on my dad's side, I am the first girl in 4 generations. I learned very quickly that I had to do boy things if I wanted to have playmates since I had no female cousins. I don't recall playing with other girls until I started school. And my brothers are what you would call manly men. 5 out of 6 of them are in the military, like my dad was. I'm a Navy brat, and the 6th is a missionary in the Australian outback. I never really learned how to be a girl, although my mother certainly tried. She gave up by the time I was about 10. I would have gone in the Navy myself, but I failed the physical due to childhood asthma I have since outgrown. Don't understand the recommendation for a life coach. I know who I am and what I want, more than a lot of people my age, I think. I have a great job I love, lots of activities outside of work, plenty of friends. But I want love, and I want children. I love kids, which is why I went into the world of elementary education. I babysit, I work in the church nursery, and every time I hold somebody else's baby I dream of having one of my own. And I watch all my friends, both male and female, pair off, get married, buy houses, have babies, while I get left behind. It's starting to really get to me. Our pastor told me maybe God is calling me to be single, and all I could think was how cruel would that be to give me this huge desire for a family if I'm never going to have one. So, I have to wonder if I am an alpha female. Should I be looking for super alpha guys who won't be intimidated by me, or obviously beta guys who prefer stronger women? I kind of think I would end up having trouble respecting the latter. I'm thinking of applying for a summer job at some kind of adventure camp. I would think the guys at a place like that might be a good match. Or maybe volunteering on a mission trip someplace not quite safe, like my cousin who went to Kenya a few years back. Maybe I could spend the summer with my brother in Australia, or in Hawaii with my brother who is stationed at Pearl Harbor. It's becoming pretty clear that I'm probably not going to find the right type of guy for me here at home. Of course, if I meet the right guy in one of those places, I might very well end up not coming home. No real emotional issues. Moved a lot due to being a Navy brat, but spent my high school years living with my grands because my parents wanted me to do all of high school in one place. If anything, just kind of spoiled by being the youngest and only girl in a household with 6 boys. My boyfriends weren't that much older. At 15 my BF was 18. At 21 I was dating a 25-year-old. The next 2 guys were actually younger than me. My parents are almost 10 years apart, and they've been happily married for almost 50 years. She was 19 and he was 29 when they met and married. I do realize that was another generation. I'm actually surprisingly domestic. I've had to be to help my mom take care of 6 boys. I was helping around the house by the time I was 4. Now I live with and help care for my grandparents who are in their 82nds. Actually, home is the only place I really have a feminine side. My entire room is decorated with pastel roses and has a very country Victorian theme, and I love it that way. But as far as wardrobe, I can't stand looking girly. I think maybe because when I was a kid my brothers would tease me about being a princess if I dressed up. So, I stopped. I feel stupid in dresses. I also feel stupid in figure-hugging clothing because I have no chest or butt to speak of. Athletic girls often don't develop much of a figure. I have visibly toned arms and legs and a great six-pack, but almost no curves at all. I don't even need a bra except for during sports. I won't wear high heels. Last time I did I fell, broke my ankle, and missed an entire winter skiing. Never again. I do have a lot of men in my life, but most of them are my brothers and cousins. I would hope no one I dated would be put off by that, although I must admit my brothers and cousins are intimidating. There are 11 of them, and all of them are the approximate size and build of an NFL quarterback. Not a single one is under 6 feet 2, and they're all pretty muscular as well. But I don't see much of them these days. None of them live anywhere near me anymore, so I can't imagine they would bother any of the guys I date. I used to interact with guys a lot more than I do now because I worked in restaurants where most of the kitchen staff was male and so were the bartenders. Now that I work in an elementary school, I don't have many male co-workers. In fact, I believe there are only 4 guys in the place including the principal, and 3 of them are married. The one I dated is the only one who isn't. I don't go to the gym because I coach girls softball and soccer at the school where I work, and we have quite a bit of gym equipment in our basement at home. And I wouldn't consider myself flirty unless you think asking the guys if they want to put together a pickup basketball, football, or baseball game after church is flirting. It certainly isn't to me. I'm afraid my idea of flirting probably hasn't changed much since grade school. If I like a guy, I'll probably tease him, or else avoid him entirely to the point where he probably thinks I don't like him, which I know isn't going to get me anywhere. I don't have hips. Yes, I know it looks that way in the pic, but it's just the way I'm leaning on the wall. I wear an XS shirt and a size 0 or 2 jeans. Not much curves there. I don't have the 2 right places upstairs either. As I said earlier, I don't even need a bra. Unless it were padded, that might help me some. But guys apparently find those deceiving. I should probably actually put on some weight, but it's hard when I'm always going all the time. Someday it will probably catch up with me, but so far it hasn't. My mom says she didn't start putting on weight until she was past 30 and she had 7 kids. And maybe I am hiding a bit, not just a lack of curves. I also have pretty bulky leg muscles, both calves and thighs. My shoulders are pretty broad as well, almost disproportionately so, as well as being very muscular. Combination of playing violin and pitching softball there. I don't look like a female bodybuilder, but if I worked out much more with free weights, I could achieve that look without much trouble. Not that I want to. Look at a picture of most female Olympic swimmers or gymnasts, and you'll get a pretty good idea of my body type. I was actually thinner in that pic than I am now. I've put on about 10 pounds since college, so I'm only about 98 to 102 pounds in that pic. I think I was about 21 or 22 when it was taken. I'll see if I can find something newer where I'm not hidden by children or wearing a sports uniform. It's funny that some of you say my clothes are too loose or not figure-hugging enough. My grandma's constantly telling me that everything I wear is too tight. Generation gap, I guess. Do I really come across as sounding like a feminist? Because I'm definitely not. I'm actually a fairly conservative Christian. Yes, I work in a reasonably liberal career field, teaching, but I'm at the elementary level, which I've found is more conservative. I just don't want to be subservient to a man or pushed to be a stay-at-home mom because my career is important to me. The one guy I did sleep with, my HSBF, is the one who dumped me for the C model. So, sleeping with him obviously wasn't enough for him. And even though he didn't marry her, he married a woman with a similar figure and look. I came to the conclusion a long time ago that I lost him because he ended up out of my league. I'm cute, but he's gorgeous. I wonder sometimes how we were ever together to begin with. He could have had the blonde head cheerleader and he dated the captain of the softball team instead. And I totally understand that my desire for a career ruined my second relationship. That wasn't about bonding at all because he wouldn't have even if I would have. He wasn't exactly upfront over the course of the relationship that he wanted a som rather than a career woman. He just seemed to take it for granted that I would change my mind once we were married. Then he decided he wanted a career in the ministry, and it all of a sudden became really important to have a woman who would fit into the mold of a pastor's wife. It didn't take him long to decide that wasn't me. So, it would seem that maybe I need to focus on guys who I know share my religious beliefs, because they are more likely to accept not sleeping together until later in the relationship. It's too bad there aren't any single guys my age in my church. There are a few 30-something divorced dads, but they've always been off my radar because I've figured they wouldn't want more kids. So, in the process of all this soul-searching, I have gone so far as to text my 2 work exes that I am still FB friends with and asked both of them outright why they never consulted me about moving away or going with them. I got a message back from one of them and he basically said he didn't ask because he knew I would have said no, so what would have been the point in asking? He wasn't about to turn down what was a great opportunity for him, and I was in the process of getting my master's degree, so he figured, rightly, that I wouldn't have been willing to go. I told him it would have been nice to be asked nonetheless, but he said no guy wants to be turned down even when he's expecting it. He also told me I talked about marriage and kids too much, and he found that a turnoff since his goal was to own his own restaurant before he ever considered settling down. I asked him if he thought we would still be together if he hadn't moved away, and he said no, he isn't ready yet for a committed relationship. Then he came right out and admitted to me that he had been seeing and sleeping with other girls while we were together, and told me never to date another chef if I wanted a successful marriage because every chef he's ever worked with has been a player. I am curious to see if I get a similar answer from the other guy. I've always thought he just might not have been ready for a serious relationship. He is 4 years younger than me and was something of a mama's boy. Doesn't change the fact that he moved away and married another girl he'd known for only a few months, less than a year after dumping me. My Christian beliefs have not changed since I took that pledge at 14 years old. If anything, they are stronger now than they were then because I have more real understanding of what back then was just following my family's beliefs. And in fact, I believe God is more likely to grant my desires if I obey Him than if I do not. At the same time, I don't want to get in my own way. God can't work with me if I keep unwittingly throwing roadblocks in both His way and my own. So, I'm trying to figure out what roadblocks I may have. And I'm reading back through my own posts and wondering if I talk as much like a teacher as I write, because I can see where that could be a real turn-off. I can't move out of the family home. I am the legal primary caregiver for my grandparents who are both pushing 90 and not exactly healthy anymore. If I left, they would have no choice but to move into a nursing home. My grandmother was born in this house and has lived here all her life. I'm going to make sure she's able to die here if that is what she wants. It would break her heart to leave, and I don't think I would ever forgive myself for that. None of the rest of my family lives in this state anymore. My brothers and cousins have all moved far away, almost all in the service, so they don't get home much either. My parents are in Virginia and my mom's brother is in Texas. My grandparents have been raising me since I started 7th grade. I feel like I owe them for that. Someday they will be gone and I won't be able to get the time back. I don't want to have regrets. Who says I'm not struggling to hold out? The chemistry I had with the teacher I dated was incredible. I couldn't get enough of kissing him and making out with him. But we had only been seeing each other for 3 months and I was pretty sure it wasn't exclusive on his part, which as it turned out I was right. So, I sure as heck wasn't going to let it go any further. The guy I dated for 2 years never let it go beyond kissing. He didn't believe in flirting with temptation, and I probably would have slept with him if he had wanted it, because I truly loved him. My comment: what would your advice be for this OP? It seems like she doesn't know what she wants, that's why she can't find a partner. You agree?